What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. But what if you don't yet have a real estate career? That's the subject of today's show. So we're talking about what to do your first 90 days in real estate when you have nothing. You have a nice shiny little piece of paper that potentially you're about to get or may you already have. That's right. And you're going to frame it and hang it up on the wall of your den or your broker's office or something. I don't know. But I don't know. You have no idea what to do next. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We've got a lot of stuff to get into. We've been excited about this particular episode for a while. We've got a ton of stuff to cover. So we're going to jump right in. The co-pilot is with me, Greg McDaniel, the junior grandmaster himself. Greg, what is up today?
Whoop, whoop. What up, Playboy? Man, you and I were talking about off air about all these ideas and things that you and I are trying. We're having business struggles. We're having personal struggles, not between us, of course, never between us, but on other aspects of our lives. I was like, I don't know, whatever. But
no, we virtually never have struggles between the two of us, which is nice.
Yeah.
We are very good business partners, but yes. And I don't know, I'm going to say struggles, just challenges of growth,
opinions.
Challenges of growth and getting to where we want to go. Inevitable, which are, they are
going to happen.
Normal, right? Yeah.
No, yeah. They totally are.
But have some not so good problems to have, but that's the way it goes.
Well, yesterday, dude. So all of y'alls that don't watch me live on my prospecting show, shame on you. First off. But guys, I was going through. Oh, I didn't grab them all. My Hobbit pads. Woohoo! Oh, there's a couple missing, by the way. And I came across this one with a very important little note on there, which I'm not going to show you for a very good reason. It's because a long time ago, you guys, you may or may not have been following me at that point, but I found a very lucrative buyer, probably the biggest one anyone has ever found. Matt, do you know how much he is worth?
I do not.
$40 million. I found a contractor that he's like, dude, I got $40 million. I gotta spend it. I'm like, so what did I do? I promptly stashed him away, nice in a safe place, and forgot about it.
Never called him again.
Never called him again until yesterday. I went on and I was able to. I sent him 25 different projects ranging from 9.6 million to 2.2 million on development, a smattering of everything. Talked to him. I am like the baby Jesus walking on water right now. He loves me. And
did baby Jesus walk on water? Anyway.
Just boom, right.
Yeah, I was going to say, did Jesus walk on water as a toddler, or did he wait until he was like at least 8 or 9? Anyway. So you're the baby Jesus walking on water to a $40 million investor.
Yeah, and then the cool thing is that he's like, dude, whatever we like, we'll review them, and then once we like them, you go write the offer up, and then you get to resell everything that we built. I'm like, oh, thank you.
Nice, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And we're negotiating a 1.4 to $1.7 million properties in Berkeley with one of the Patrick, who is a follower of our show, so Playboy Patrick. And so we're going to see if we're going to get that thing listed up and go have some fun with that today or tomorrow. So lots of good things are happening, man.
Yes, always good things. All right, so we've got a ton of people watching with us. First of all, thank you guys. Shaniqua, Vince, Sal, Michael, Josh, Brian, good God. Terry Jeffries, both of you guys from Chicago. What's up, Chicago? Alicia, Brian, Caitlin. So big shout out to you guys. If you have questions as we go along, we'd love to cover them. We'll go off on some side tangents and stuff like that. We don't have a super set agenda. We just have some things that we want to cover that we know is going to help people that are coming into or just brand new in the business. If you are still studying for your exam, and you are watching this, we're going to talk about some things that you can do before you get your license to set yourself up to hit the ground running. If you have already gotten your license and hit the ground and just fell flat and were not able to hit the ground running, we will show you how to pick yourself up and start running, and that's what we're going to cover today. So first of all, why good God? Josh says, why good God? Okay, so let's talk about brokerage, right? So this is a big thing for agents that are going through, they're looking at getting their license, whatever the case is. The question of who to join or what company to join. So, Greg, quickly tell me, what are some of the criteria that you would recommend a new agent look at in terms of, what company they've joined?
A lot of people want to, sometimes say, hey, look, you should go join X, Y, and Z company because they're the biggest in the area. Well, the biggest in the area might not be a good thing for you. You need to look at culture and training. These are the people you're going to be around and the future education that you're going to be relying on if you don't watch our show. If you don't watch our show, then I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. But since you are watching the show, then we know that you're sound mind.
We can't speak for your body, but we can say that you're of sound mind.
Yes. All joking aside, you need to find a good culture and a good training organization. And then you also need to look at commission splits. Those are the three things that are most important. And good management, people that get it, that protect you, that are going to cover your ass in a tight situation. They're not going to throw you to the wolves. You want to be around people that you actually want to hang out with, in the office, not all day long, because then you're not going to get business. Okay, let's be honest here. Don't be mad.
Yeah, don't set up a Barca lounger by the water cooler, but people that you can have some good conversation.
Barca lounger? God, you're old.
I am.
Oh my God. But you know what? Look at those three things. Make sure that you get off with a good group, guys. I've been with the same group my entire career. I mean, the people we've just moved brokerage names, but we've all traveled as a herd together. And that's one of the great things. I know all these people. They've watched me grow up from a little, snot-nosed, 21-year-old real estate agent who had attitude issues to an older real estate agent with attitude issues.
Thank you, Jack, for saying that. Oh. First of all, you beat me to it because I was so going to go there. That was awesome.
I know. I was watching. You were like just. You were like playing.
I was brewing. Yeah,
I couldn't
contain myself. Yes, you are an older agent with attitude issues, but yeah. So I second the thing about don't automatically go with the biggest, because people support. Like when you get into those conversations with clients, you realize how little they know. Number one, and number two, how little they care. Right?
Yes,
they don't care about your brokerage. They don't care about you. Occasionally, you will get that objection where somebody says, well, I've never heard of your brokerage. Great. We're a boutique brokerage. Question answered. Moving on.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's not as big a deal as people think. People could say, Greg, you are a perfect example because, you have a big name maybe in your local areas, but you are a boutique name. You're not KW, you're not Intero, you're not whatever. You're not one of the big, you're not Century 21. Never been an issue for you. So anyway, set that aside.
It's really not. It is kind of an issue. It's actually interesting, Matt. In my area, in my 680 corridor, everybody knows Jay Rockcliffe, right? I step over the hill into Berkeley, and the guy, Alon, who is this investor guy, I'm like, I'm with Jay Rockcliffe. He looked at me like I just told him he had a third eye in his head. He's like, huh? And I'm like, ooh, lead brick. Wow. Moving on. Our team, by the way.
Exactly.
But it really depends on what kind of personality you have. It has to jive with the brokerage. And if you want to do crazy shit, you got to have a broker that wants to do crazy shit. Do you want to, wear, pull a Frank and wear dress shirts up to here and shorts below and never have to go into the office? It's your personality, guys. Just make sure that you're happy to go to work. It might be a virtual company where you can just work from home, right? It really is it's your choice. It's your company, and you can change whenever you want to. That's the greatest part about it.
You mean underwear? Yeah, I got you. Okay, so Bree Moore says, hi, handsome. So you and I can fight over who she's actually talking to.
She's talking to me because she's one of my longtime high school friends.
I'm sure she is.
Thank you, Bree.
Frank says it's not a Barca lounger. It's a lazy boy now. So thank you, Frank, for that correction. I appreciate it. But Brian has a really good comment. He says that this is what this episode is aimed at. Brian says, I'm not an agent yet. I can't wait to start. I'm about a year out. I'm watching you guys, and I've already joined Coach Hank Avink, who helped me get up with a scripting partner. And now I have a mentor in the area I want to work with. I can't wait to hear what else you guys suggest that I do. That is a great point. A mentor, huge. That also should be a determining factor in what brokerage you go with, because Greg, you alluded to it, and we just touched on it briefly, the training part of it.
Yeah.
So here's why. Commission splits, I think, for the most part, don't matter. Totally irrelevant. What's relevant is how many deals are they going to help you do, and how much money is that going to put into your pocket at the end of the day, right? So if you go to a company where their training is minimal because they pay their agents 95%, they don't get much out of you doing another deal. So where's the incentive for them to pour their heart and soul into training and coaching you if it means an extra couple $100 in their pocket? What are they going to do? They don't care. They're going to stack agents up like cordwood, and they're going to go out and they're going to recruit more agents. That's where their focus goes. Yeah, so the lower the split to you, the bigger incentive your broker or your team manager, whoever you report to, the more they have an incentive to get involved with you and help you be successful, because that makes them money. If you're not willing for somebody else to succeed when you succeed, they're not going to help you, and you deserve to fall flat on your face and flounder. So there's a big mistake where agents are obsessed with getting the highest commission split, and not realizing that what's probably going to happen is they're not going to get the training they need to actually do any deals, and they'll end up with 99% of nothing. So just wanted to throw that out there real quick. Training it's so important. I mean, you can get a lot from us, but it's really fantastic to have an on the ground, in person, belly to belly mentor that can sit down with you and run you through the ropes, the stuff that we can't physically do on the show with you.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to join a team within a brokerage, make sure the team and the brokerage are both kind of the atmospheres you want to be around as well. There's a gentleman in my office right now. I've been with him forever, and he has a mentor, which is bullshit, because the mentor won't keep the agent accountable for his numbers. He came in and asked me to keep him accountable of his numbers, because the other guy just flat out says, I don't want to, I don't have time. Fuck that guy. That's not a mentor. That's a leech. You got to distinguish between the two of them. If the man or woman that's going to mentor you is going to stand by you, that's a mentor. That they're going to grow with you. They're going to be excited about your growth, because they're not intimidated of you becoming better. Because all the guys listening, look, the women are going to outsell you. All right, it's just a fact in the business, and it has been for a long period of time, that the women are most likely going to be better than you. Yes, it is. It is a true fact, if they know what they're doing out there. So, ladies, you're loving on me. Guys, don't hate me. But we've lost out on big deals, like a $2.5 million deal we lost last year. Why? Because the couple is going through a divorce, and the wife had to have a woman to hold her hand through the process. We couldn't compete against that. So. Just I went off on a tangent. The one thing I'm trying to get across to you guys, make sure the person, quit giving me weird fucking looks. You're confusing the living shit out of me.
I've known you, Greg, for almost 3 years, and you've never alluded or mentioned to anything like that. I mean, the most successful guys in terms of the number of units sold are mostly guys.
No.
That's not. I don't think that's a value statement or anything that's not factual.
Shut up. Let me talk.
All right, moving on.
Just find a mentor that's going to have your back, that's actually going to want to see you succeed. End of story. Next topic, John.
All right. So both Helen and Jill said, I needed to hear this today. This is so helpful. Good. That's why we do this. So what's the average day like? This is a huge question that I think anybody that's not already in the business, or anybody that isn't super successful in the business, would like to know, is what in the hell is it like to actually be an agent on a day-to-day basis? So first of all, I would like to, before we get into the actual average day, I want to cover what everyone thinks the average day is like. So please, Greg, please share with me, what does an unsuccessful agent look like in their daily life from what you see around your beautiful office there in Walnut Creek?
They usually have headphones on, and they're staring at their TV or computer, watching YouTube, and it's drinking a huge amount of coffee, not picking up the phone because they're aggressively staring at it, just willing it to ring. Ring. I dare you to ring. Ring. See, I won. You didn't ring. Ha. A staring contest with your phone. You're afraid to go talk to people. Agents, what you thinking of a day, or an average agent or aspiring agent thinks the day is like? They get up, they put on their pretty good looking suit, get in their brand new Benz. They're going to carry their nice little briefcases. They drop papers everywhere. This shit didn't work at all.
No, that was the worst. That was the worst imitation of a briefcase I've ever seen. In fact, the whole purpose of a briefcase is to have that not happen.
I know. Okay, so you get your briefcase that actually carries shit, right? Okay. And you're going to go into your office, and your assistant's going to hand you all your messages, and you're going to be able to go make $1 million, because all you're going to be doing is working with buyers and listing homes. Then you're going to go home to your beautiful spouse.
No, listing home. We're scared of listing homes. We'd rather just work with buyers and make $1 million.
Oh, God, no. Then you go home to your beautiful spouse, your 2.5 kids, your 1.5 dog and cat, and get a restful night of sleep as you listen to the Real Estate Uncensored podcast as you ease into your deep sleep.
Slip off into dreamland, yeah.
Yes, that's your perfect day.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so Greg, share with me what an actual day looks like for a successful growing agent.
Shit's gonna get real, motherfucker. All right, here we go. I got the nose pinch. 14 minutes deep. I was late on that one today. Damn it.
Oh, all right. Well, you sound like if anybody has listened to Joe Coy, his brown sugar imitation, his impression is hilarious. That's what it reminds me of. Anyway, go ahead.
Hank's getting a kick out of this. He's watching this right now. Yeah. Hank, what up, Playboy? So your day is going to start off early. If you want to be successful, you got to be up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning. I get up at 5. I'm going to move my actual schedule back to 4:30 because I'm already getting up there. Yeah, move it back. I used to get up at 4 all the time.
Okay, so you're just moving back to where your body is,
we're
getting accustomed to it again. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to get right now. I get up at 4. I mean at 5. One of these times I'll get up at some time. I get into the gym by just about like 5:36, 5:40, somewhere in that point in that area. I do a workout for an hour to an hour and a half. I come back. You need to spend some time doing meditation, goal reviewing, get some breakfast. If you have kids, hang out with them, I guess. But a spouse, yeah. But you know what? You spend some time with family, but definitely spend time meditating and goal reviewing. That's critical. Shit, shower, shave, get your ass out the door, be in the office 8:30 or 9, sit down, and then this is where the real fun starts. This is where if you don't have anything else on your calendar, you're going to pick up the phone, you're going to go out and door knock, you're going to go out and network. You need to be prospecting all damn day. That is the reality of life. If you don't prospect, guys, there is no easy button in this business whatsoever. I don't care what you see on HGTV. That's bullshit. Matt, second me on that one.
Bullshit.
Thank you. Now, bullshit has been moved to the panel. It's unanimous. It passes. It's bullshit.
I second that. All right.
Suck at that. And then you guys are going to grind it out, and it's not going to be a 9 to 5. Dude, it's going to be a 9 to 6, 9 to 7, 9 to 8. I mean, it's going to be a long day. And then you're going to probably work on the weekends, and you're going to lose personal relationships. You're going to get strained marital relationships at times because you're going to be working so hard and you're going to be stressed out. This business is not easy. End of story. If you think it is, turn us off, defriend us, and move on with life. If you're willing to take the challenge, stay our friends because we like you.
All right. But let me quickly go in and second that, but give a little bit more structure to what you talked about with the day, right?
That'd be nice.
So, yes, I understand, Greg, you are a huge fan of prospecting all day, every day. And there was a time when you had to do that, right? Especially coming out of the crash.
You're starting out, you have to. I mean,
yes, but here's what that looks like in practical terms, right? So and drawing from experience and Jeff Cohn's experience, working database and stuff like that. So when we talk about like prospecting all the time, that can mean like from 8 to 11, it's cold prospecting, reaching out to people that you don't know or reconnecting with your database. Then 11 to 1 is follow-up. That's the typical schedule. Yeah, like you grab lunch in somewhere in there, but 11 to 1 is like your follow-up time and paperwork. Then the rest of the time is hopefully for appointments, but if you don't have any appointments because you're not good enough to get them, then you go back to prospecting, right? Or you can do what Jeff Cohn did and you set that time aside for like coffee and lunch meetings and stuff like that with your database. And you train people that are already in your network that already know, like, and trust you to send you referrals and how to send you referrals.
That's
right.
awesome.
So like Jeff is a great example. When he got into the business, he sat down, he wrote a list out of everyone he knew. He started to make contact, and his goal was, I believe it was like 8 to 10 appointments, like coffee appointments per week. So that's about 2 a day. And so that's very doable for anybody that knows, if you've lived in the area for a while and you have 150 people in your database, that's very doable. So some mornings cold prospecting, then follow up, do your admin time appointments. If not, go back to cold prospecting, schedule appointments, make contact with people in your database. And then hopefully in the evenings, you are, going on appointments, meeting with people, doing happy hours, networking events, whatever the case is. So, there's a way to kind of fill your time up in a way that just doesn't burn you out. It's not like you're out all day door knocking. You could, but you don't have to.
That's how I started in the business. It's exactly what I do.
I know it is. Yeah,
but everybody runs their schedules differently. Like that's how you'd run your schedule. I run my schedule exactly the way I talked about it. So it's not going to be one size fits all. It's to look at your personality, look at your priorities, but any gap you have in your day, be doing some form of prospecting or follow up to get the future and now business. You can't sit on your haunches. That's what we're trying to say to you guys.
Yeah.
Just work what's best for you, and then it'll all come together. Don't follow me. Don't follow Matt if it feels wrong for you.
Yeah. All right. So let's briefly talk about commission splits, right? So when somebody when somebody says, good, bad, hey, like this brokerage has this, that, but that brokerage is better because they have better splits and yada yada. Like I explained earlier, the commission split is also a trade-off, because if the broker doesn't make any money off of you doing a deal, there's very little incentive to help you do more deals. So you have to keep that in mind. Hank says 36 to life. First class is sold out. Waitlist is being formed. Absolutely. You guys go check it out right now. Go follow Hank on Facebook. He does some of the best, most amazing and crazy / shirtless Facebook lives that I've ever seen. He did one shirtless, I think, out in his yard in the snow.
Oh, good Lord, Hank, that's just showing off.
Our post, we appreciate it. But yeah, guys, go check that out. You can live an amazing life selling no more than 36 homes a year. Hank has a whole system for it. It's amazing stuff. So go check that out. But
and we don't even get paid to say that.
No, we just like Hank. Yeah. So getting back to the commission split thing. So kind of at this point, Greg, what do you see as like the industry standard for most, like just a solo agent? They don't have a team. They have a good relationship with their broker, but they're not like bending them over a barrel. Like is there an average you can point to?
50-60% probably, starting, depends. Like our brokerage would start at, like when our old manager was here, he'd start at 60 to 70% on the splits. But then the brokerage takes out 6%. Then they take out, a couple other, fees per. So you get knocked down the totem pole pretty quickly in regards to what you're actually taking home. But I mean, if you're going to be getting good support and they don't rape you on price, there's the yin and the yang, man. You're screwed if you do, and you're screwed if you don't. So pick what makes the most sense for you and your family long term, and just run with it and just base it off of that split. If you're going to get a lower split but better support, ultimately long term, that could be better for you, because you can become a better, faster, stronger, smarter real estate agent that you can then demand and command a higher split. So, take a little hit in the beginning and then get paid in the back end.
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah, that would be exactly my approach. I mean, I'm a big...
Wait a minute. You're agreeing with me without any disagreement?
No, I have none.
Ding! Winner's box.
Mark it down, folks. 2 years in. 2 years in, I finally agreed with Greg without any equivocation.
11:21.
It's happened
PM.
once in 2 years. All right. So we talked a little bit about what the average day is like, what to expect. So what can we expect the life of a real estate agent to be like? So take me through like what it's like in terms of just emotionally, and the what is it like to really work with clients? Let's put it that way. Let's bring it down to your actual customer service part of the job.
Well, Matt, it's like we were talking about before we went on the air. Matt was lamenting to me a few things that he is going through on trials and tribulations in his own business, but it goes across every business. They're needy ass people at times because they're freaking out on these transactions. But you have to understand that. You have to be a therapist, because they're going to lose their shit at some time, at least maybe more than a couple of times throughout your transaction. So you're going to get calls 6 a.m., 9 p.m., on the weekends at ungodly hours. You have to understand that's going to be part of the job. You wear so many hats as a real estate agent, and you have to accept that. You're a therapist, you're a counselor, you're a financial consultant, you're an attorney. Don't be an attorney.
Sometimes a wildly unqualified financial advisor.
Well, I think you should do this with your money, Bob. Well, why are you driving an 86 Toyota Corolla with one spare wheel?
Wow, I didn't know that Toyota made a station wagon in that year. Like, well, interesting.
Oh, we have too much fun doing this shit. But your day is going to be, guys, it's going to be hard. It's really going to be hard. There's going to be so many moving parts. No deal's ever going to be the same. Don't expect it to ever be the same. Expect problems from the get-go, and be willing to head them off. That's why you need to do continual education every single day. Be educating yourself, reading a book, listening to our podcast, talking to a very qualified top producer, networking. I mean, getting better at what you do. Go listen to, I was listening to Real Estate Social Media Examiner's live show before I come on. I try to watch it every Friday at 10 p.m. Dude, they have so much good stuff that they tell you, so then I can then become better in, the real estate using technology. That's just an example. You've got to become better, and you've got to understand there's going to be lots of trouble. And and don't forget to ask for help. Do not have an ego to the point where you're better and smarter because you've done 3 deals and you know what the next one's going to look like. No, very fucking bad. I always go into our controller's office. Her name is Irene Baldwin. The woman is awesome. She will bitch slap the shit out of me when I screw up, and she will just give me this look like you're an idiot. I'm like, no, fix me. But
Yeah.
but go get help.
But if you're the personality type that's really, really good and really interested in filling out that real estate paperwork perfectly,
please don't.
Probably not a great salesperson.
No. Get a TC, man. It costs a couple $100 and they're well worth every single penny. But Matt, what have you seen in regards to the typical day? Because it's or the typical business, whatever your question
in terms of what to expect, I think the best explanation I've ever heard for it is that a real estate agent's job is to absorb hassle.
Ugh. Why am I in this business?
Because you pay somebody else to do it. You pay Eileen very well to absorb most of that hassle.
Yes, I do. And you know what? I actually had to do something. It was so minuscule the other day. I had to go research a pod for one of my clients. I'm like, oh, this is time consuming. This sucks. And she just looks at me. She's like, ha, you're living my life. I'm like, can you do it? She's like, I'll do it. I'm like,
exactly. Yes. So we have it's a two-edged sword, right, guys? So if real estate wasn't such an insanely complicated, old-fashioned business where everything is different, somebody would have come along a while ago and Uber-fied our entire business, and we'd all be out of a job. That's the bottom line. So that's the complexity is the only thing that kind of holds that off from happening and may forever hold it off from happening. I don't know. There's going to be something that disrupts the real estate industry and how the business is done. Mm-hmm. But for now, the complexity is job security. So that's one way to kind of get used to it and live with it. But yeah, if you're an agent, just know that it is possible. You'll be running your own deals. But the more successful you get and the more you focus on sales, the more money that comes in, the more you can hire somebody to help you get to the level where you can pay someone else to absorb a good chunk of the hassle. Now, they'll never be able to absorb all of it because you still have to have the high level conversations with clients. You still have to be the ones that are updating your sellers, and you have to have weekly communication with your buyers. You're always going to have that type of stuff, like the high level relationship and some of the hand holding. But like you mentioned, Greg, like the research, for example, that's a great example of something that is a hassle. It's not something that the buyer is hassled or the seller is hassled with. It's something you're hassled with. It's a time-consuming exercise and futility sometimes. Those things you can pay people to do. So there is hope for that. So we've got a couple of comments here going back to the commissions. Helen says, I've been told I'd have to stay on the lower split for a year, 50-50, then next year be on a 70-30 before I can go higher. And others are starting off at 60-40. One guy's at 80-20. For a long time, I thought the standard was kind of 80-20. Maybe that's changed with the rise of teams and things like that.
Like what, 80 to the agent and 20 to the brokerage? Mm-hmm. Wow.
I think it was like 75-35 back in the day when I joined a brokerage that was, it was like the third largest brokerage in our town. Like it wasn't a chain, it was a local. So maybe I had a unique experience because they were growing like crazy, and part of it was that they were offering a little bit better, but only by like 5% better than other brokerages in the area. So and that's continued to evolve since I've gotten out of being an active agent. But anyway.
Well, yeah, and again, every team and every brokerage are different. I mean, again, go back to what's important to you. Is the split more important? Is the environment, or is the training, or all three of them important? I mean, that's your trifecta, what you need to look at.
Yeah. Another hidden thing to look at is the quality of their transaction management. If you can hire someone for a couple $100 that works for the brokerage that can do most of the paperwork behind you, that can actually, even if their split is lower to you, man, that can save you a lot of time and free you up to do more deals and not have to worry so much,
Oh, yeah, Matt, you brought up a totally good one. What is the brokerage going to do for you for the split? So are they going to charge you for copies? Are they going to, what technology are they investing in? What is their environment? What does the offices look like? What's the receptionist? How is he or she, how the appearance, the first face of the company looking? There's some brokerages that literally charge you, or I don't know if they still do, but charge you for copies. They charge you for this, charge you for nickel and dime you to death. So you can have a 95% split, but by the time you get your fees, you're like at a 30% split, because it does suck all the money out of you. You didn't even see it coming.
That's right. All right. So Greg, take us through, speaking of commission splits. So let's say, setting aside the whole nickel and dime issue, how does a real estate agent get paid, and how can they avoid the first paycheck shock of getting that first split, that first, kind of their first commission split check from their broker, and going, what happened to all of it? Wait a minute. I thought I sold a $500,000 home at 6%. I thought I was getting like 50 grand. What the hell?
They're just like, oh, well, this is what my bottom line should look like.
For those of you listening, Greg just did, I believe that was an imitation of an accountant from the 50s with a typewritten calculator with a paper roll. Yeah. Anyway, Greg, we're so old.
God, yeah, we are. There's people like in their 50s and 60s listening to us. So they're like, "Shut up, assholes!" But you know what? You need to run go talk to your your broker and get a real expectation. Hey, this is what are the fees coming out? What should I be expecting? Because you are going to be a little bit on the culture shock side. I mean, for us, this beautiful office you see behind us is not cheap. Okay, so for the six, I think we pay $35,000 for this concrete block that I sit in right now a year. So the first 6 months, dude, they're taking a good chunk out of every one of our checks.
And you realize about 10 grand of that is the space from 8 to 12 feet. Like it's not even livable. It's the top of the room. You have like 12-foot ceilings in there. So I just thought I'd like to point that out. Greg, you're paying about 10 grand a year for space that you don't even breathe in.
What a ripoff! Fuck, I knew we were doing something wrong.
Oh my God! All right.
Oh God, what was the question? I can't even remember.
I don't remember. Well, all right, let's move on. So we talked a little bit about how you get paid. What is that first? Do you remember what your experience was like when you got your first paycheck in real estate?
Yeah, it was fucking epic. I sold a $1,250,000 property, and I was at a 55%. No, I was not. I was brought in, and I only made 10% of my deal. My dad just fucking. It's like, oh yeah, you can make 10%. I'm like, oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, and this is after like months of door knocking, right?
A year
of door knocking. A year of door knocking. Let's get that right.
Yeah, don't.
So you made 10% of that. You made 10% of $1 million deal, right?
No, 10% of our split, which is I'm not going to say our split, but it's a very, very high split. Let's put it that way. And so I looked at it and I didn't know any different, dude. I was like, fuck yeah, dude, party, beer money. This will go buy at least 2 12-packs.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were coming off of working at like a job at a warehouse or something, so maybe your expectations were different. But yeah, it helps to be in a place where there's high average listing price. When I got into the business in Omaha, our average listing price was $130,000.
Oh,
I mean, we're talking about, like you're quibbling over like, do I get an $1,100 commission or is it going to be a $1,300 or $1,400 commission? Like you're debating on whether you can pay rent based on, a few dollars here and there on your commission split.
See, I'm pissed when we don't see like 20,000 on every check. It's just like, man, what do we work for here? I mean, I don't get it. It's it's just different. I don't know. But yeah, just have a sit down with your broker and really have have a realistic idea so you can base your finances off of the reality, not your mental masturbation of what you're going to get on your check, because that shit just gets messy.
Yeah. Eyes get big, you start to spend, and then all of a sudden you realize that either the deal didn't go through or the splits aren't, quite what you thought they were. You're not even taking into account taxes, which Lindsay points out. She says, I don't think most new agents understand how to set aside funds for tax season. Owing is a business. I wholeheartedly agree. I love my country. I love the country, but the IRS can go screw themselves. And it is our moral. We have a moral obligation to pay them as little as humanly possible.
Yes, get a good accountant.
That's my viewpoint on it. But anyway.
Actually, one of our listeners talking about escrows falling out, Matt. Sheila, she's in the Central Valley here. She just texted me. She's like, "Have you ever had a home fall out of escrow 3 days before closing?" With the old tear, emoji. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes, I have. And it
10%. Can we help you alleviate some of the suffering? Right? Anybody like the whole Buddhist concept of happiness is just reality minus expectations. So can we set some expectations here? So one thing I learned from Jeff, which I wish I would have known back in the day, right? I learned from Jeff across all of his agents and all of their deals. They sold 601 homes last year. They figured out that about 10% of deals in pending fall out. So 1 out of every 10. They count on it. So I'm just telling you, like, if you're averaging, or if you plan to, or whatever the case is, if you plan to average about a deal a month or something like that, just count on it. At some point, you're going to have a major deal fall through that year. We'll just count on 1 out of every 10.
Well, the way to put a stopgap in there is do all the prep work up front. Make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Make sure the buyer is fully qualified. Make sure that the seller isn't going to do something wonky or all of a sudden change their mind. Vet the situation to the best that you possibly can. If you go into it, trying to find that flaw, you will have less fallout based upon changing their minds. Maybe the buyer is a dipshit and goes out and buys a brand new boat right before they have loan verification. No, bam. I actually had that happen. I had one of my buyers. He didn't make his payment on his girlfriend, now wife's car. Didn't tell his girlfriend he didn't make the payment. But if the IRS or the bank had seen that he didn't make the payment, they would have stopped the deal. And just like to Sheila, 3 days before. So, hey-ho. Bought that motherfucker for $25,000 on a Good Friday. God, that sucked.
Wait, you bought his girlfriend's car?
I bought his girlfriend's car with cash, and then he had to go resell it, and I got repaid so we can get the deal done.
Wow.
Above and beyond service.
Greg, sometimes I realize that underneath all the layers, and I do mean a lot of them, that you are a saint. It's deep. It's deep down in there. It's really deep. Like, you really got to peel away the onion layers. But eventually, you get down to Greg's mushy core, and he is a good person.
Mushy core.
All right. So I don't want to get into the team conversation right away. I want to cover a couple things, which is, what can I do before I get my license? This is a great question. Okay.
Yeah.
So what can people be doing? What types of conversations can they have when they're not licensed?
Be like a dry sponge, man. Soak up everything you can. You should be getting the most knowledge that you possibly can. Get every podcast, every book on tape. If you see a really successful agent, dude, go into their open house. If no one's there, be like, dude, I'm going to be an agent. Can you give me 5 things I should do my first month or 90 days in business? Then go to the next top agent. Ask them the same question. Don't ask the beginning agent. They're not going to know what they're talking about.
I was just thinking that. I'm like, yeah, be careful who you ask. If you were stumbling across random agents at open houses, maybe you ask them what 5 things to do, and then you go do the exact opposite.
So what should you do? Well, you should watch YouTube videos all day long, and then stare at the phone, and then call your mom.
Drink a lot of coffee.
Take 2-hour lunches.
Go out and rent go out and lease a new Mercedes you can't afford.
Oh, God.
Because you need it for that listing.
The funny thing is, I was listening to a guy, Matt, who was he? Tim Rhodes. The interview
Tim Rhodes on the Legends and Losers. Yeah.
Legends and Losers, guys. Great podcast. Chris was on our show earlier this week, and dude, the interview that he did with Tim was amazing. Tim went out there, and he said, fuck it, I'm just going to go do it. And he just went out and did it his way. But, what I think was the cool thing is that he went out and completely cracked the mold. He did it in a completely different manner. And maybe you guys have that within you as well. You can create your own channel, your own business model. Like, Chris was kind enough to call me a thought leader, and Matt let that skip right over the conversation. Matt's like, and moving on.
But you mean because I didn't immediately knock you down?
Or just acknowledge it.
No, you are a thought leader. It's like Seth Godin says, if you want to be a thought leader, you have to have leading thoughts. And Greg, there's a few of those floating around in your brain.
Under a lot of layers, yes. No, I always want to I always do one crazy thing a year, or more than one crazy thing a year, and it always seems to pay off for our team very well. So live on the edge a little bit, guys. Go out and dare to do something different than the norm. The norm is, living someone else's reality. I love when Chris said that. What you do today, like what your brokerage tells you to do, that's living someone else's reality, not yours. So what's your reality?
Well,
if Matt wants to wear a purple spandex and go dance with a hula hoop down the street, that might work for him. It's not going to work for me.
That's right. Well, let's not get into my weekend. But there's here. I want to throw my 2 cents in here because I think it'll be helpful.
Okay.
So there's 3 things that I would do, and one of them is really, I think, unique, and it's just I learned it the hard way. So I can't remember who was that pointed this out. So anyway, agents go into the business and they don't realize just how like unstructured it is, right? And some people are like drawn to the business because of that, and that's fine. Like we all want freedom. Like that's what the show is all about. We want you guys to have lives of freedom. We have lives of freedom, right? But here's the difference.
Gilded cage of what, Matt?
Yeah, I know we're talking about that. So we have chosen, because we want to be more successful, we choose the structure of our day, right? So our days are structured, but they're not. It's just that the structure doesn't come from a boss telling us how our day is going to be structured. We have imposed that structure on ourselves because we have goals that we want to achieve, and that requires structure in order to get there. So, yeah, right. So anyway, I think one of the things that I wish I had known when I was back in real estate, I had a halfway decent maybe morning routine, but I didn't really think of it that way. I've always been disciplined. I mean, I've been working full time since I was 14, so I can get out of bed in the morning and get to a job. But I didn't have a morning routine that like nourished me and set me up right for the day, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one thing out of this that has absolutely nothing to do with real estate. It has nothing to do with learning the business. Has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with like being a successful person, which is if you're going to go into a business like this and you are not already a really successful person, you probably need to look at your morning routine and just start making those modifications now. So when you get dumped into the business and all of a sudden you have this wild, unstructured time that you're supposed to do something with to get clients, we have no idea what. We'll talk about that in a second. But you're going to be dumped into a complete, like it is the wild, wild west out here. And that's why I love real estate. I love consulting. I love all of it. It is the wild west. There's nobody telling you when to be at the office. There's nobody telling you when to make your calls. There's nobody telling you anything. Sometimes.
And so that's a problem.
It is a problem for most people because they cannot impose a structure on themselves. So the point of that is start practicing now on imposing that structure and start with your mornings. That's the thing that you have the most control over is what do you do before you roll into the office? So we've talked about that on other shows and maybe we'll go deeper on it again, but just go out and get the Miracle Morning for real estate. Hal Elrod, Michael Mayer, Jay Kinder, great book. Miracle Morning for real estate agents or real estate salespeople. But go get that. That's number one.
So, Matt, something about that actually. So last year I talked a big game about doing my morning routine and everything else, which I really didn't do it. Let's be honest. And I know. I was a typical real estate agent. What do you expect from me?
A little inconsistent, you mean?
A little inconsistent? I was epically inconsistent. So
I was inconsistent a little last year too. So I hear you.
Okay, good. So we're both fucked. I started it in January this year. Now, this is not crystals and woo-woo bullshit, okay? This is, I follow a guy named Brad Yates on YouTube. He does meridian tapping, and it clears your energy system. And I do 3 different tapping routines every single morning, and I have seen tremendous explosive growth in my business and in my personal life when I do this on a daily basis. I tap on having an amazing day. I tap on being a client magnet, and I tap on being a money magnet.
Yeah.
And you know what, dude? I wish I could explain it better, but shit just shows up. It is unbelievable. I have people calling me that I haven't talked to in years going, hey man, can you help me buy a house? Hey dude, want to co-list on this? Hey, I love what you're doing here. Hey, I found all these leads. I mean, shit just shows up. You're gonna feel stupid doing it. If you guys do go do it, try to hide away in a dark hole somewhere so no one will laugh at you. But just watch how life will change for you. And I make a point every morning to sit down, just let it go, man. Just, be ready for an amazing day. Be ready for, clients to show up. And it's the weirdest thing. Matt, this is the funniest thing. I got done doing a tapping routine, what was it, a week or 2 ago? Soon as I stopped, you popped up on the messenger and told me that Chris Voss was pumped to come on our show. I'm like, whoa, no way. Like, it happened instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
FBI hostage negotiator, by the way, guys.
Yes.
International.
Yes. International, yes. And best-selling author, yes. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that was a good day in our lives. So he's going to be coming on the show in March or something like that. Anyway, we'll keep you posted. He's scheduled. He's scheduled on the books. I just don't know the date offhand.
Tracy,
anyway.
Hold on, Tracy, I want to answer your question. Yes, I tap. When I tap, I do say it out loud. I do go through the routine. I also do my breathing. Like when I say it, I'm like, I exhale out after every time that we go through the tapping. First time I did it, I kept it in. Still had the same effect, but it just, you got to feel the positive energy. You got to feel, like, really feel this stuff, and you will see radical things change in your life. Just try it. If a shit doesn't work, well, fuck, I'm sorry, but it works for me. And I got to tell you, I don't know why, but it just does. And that's the routine in the morning that I will not break. Working out, releasing energy, eating breakfast, and showering.
You go over your goals too, yeah.
What?
Yeah. I said you go over your goals too.
Oh, yeah.
Like you haven't written in lipstick on the shower. Like we've talked about that on other shows. So
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So it's not the only things that you do. But all right. So a couple more things that I would do just in the process of like getting your license and all this stuff. Like Brian, he's got a year. If you're military and you've got a year before you can get into the business, he's got a while, right? Mm-hmm. What I would do is, and we can talk about this for a little bit, but live video, right? Like share what you're learning. Like you should be studying the business anyway, studying the market, studying, what's going on with the economy, how that affects the market, just, and then getting more specific on who you want to serve, the areas that you want to serve, the types of clients you want to serve. So you really want to learn about their areas and start pre-branding yourself as an expert in the area that you want to go in by talking about it now. I wish I had done that. Like, I think I did what everybody else did, which is you think that you can't tell anyone you're in real estate until you get your license. You get your license and you realize, oh crap, nobody knows I'm in real estate.
You're a secret agent. Good job, man. Mm-hmm. 007 will be proud of you.
Yes.
Bond. James Bond.
But I think people struggle with, they look at the the Gary V's of the world, and they look at people that use social media. Grant Cardone is a great example. They look at people that use social media to speak from a place of authority, right? Like, hey, here's what you should do, or here's what I know, go try this, right? Mm-hmm. And that's fine, but you don't have to be that guy. You don't, and that, I think that holds a lot of people back from being active on social media and sharing. Because they don't feel like they can come from a place of authority, because they don't consider themselves an expert in something, right? That's fine. All you have to be is just consider yourself a lifelong student and share what you're learning. So that's one of the things that really helped me. Greg, you were on me for the longest time to do more live video, and I pulled back. You still are, but that's just because I'm busy. But I did have to come to terms with the fact that, hey, I don't need to be an expert in all the things that we talk about. I can just share what I'm learning from the amazing people that we get the chance to interview, or the books that I'm reading, or the stuff that I read, or whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would do, is I would share what you're learning and start setting yourself up as the expert in whatever area or neighborhood or specialty that you want to go into. And that's stuff that you can do a year in advance, a month in advance. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what Brian is asking, actually, Matt. He's saying he doesn't want to appear as being a licensed agent. So, Brian, you don't have to appear as if you're an active agent. You can go in and talk about your daily life. Get people to start following you and having an interest in you. People often always think that they have to always talk about real estate. No, that is really, really, really boring. Do not post links about articles that are really good. There's going to be crickets on the other end of that post, okay? No one cares. There has to be an emotional bond to the post. So whatever you're going through in your life, share it, because someone else is going through it in their life. You guys come together, now you start liking each other. Then when you start posting about real estate, there's already that bond there. Like, oh my God, you're in real estate? Oh my, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So start today and just show us behind the scenes of your life. What are you doing? What do you like to do? What are your hobbies? If you got kids, play around with your kiddos, go to their soccer games, have a conversation about the real estate market with the other dad on the other sideline of the soccer game. The juvenile golf games are prolific here.
Yeah, no kidding.
But just start showing up. That's what actually the live video was developed for. It was seen behind who you are. They want people to see, around the corner. They don't want to just have you as a business model, or something like that. That's where people get lost on it. They think it's just for business. But a lot of my biggest posts are just me just fucking around. Because it's emotional. Before live video, I told the story before, and I'll tell it again. I took a video and uploaded it saying, hey, if anyone works with us in Q4 of, I think, 2014. I'll pay you $1,000. Or if you refer anyone, I'll pay you $1,000. I'm like, it's pretty sexy. Yeah, baby. 1,000 buckaroos. Crickets. Same, 2 days later. Photo of just my brand new barbecue. Just my brand new barbecue. Nothing else. Wasn't cooking. Just sitting there. I said, so glad to have a barbecue after 8 months. Can't wait to get my grill on. Post beyond belief. And I'm like, what's going on? Then I did that again. I took a picture of my refrigerator, stocked full for the Super Bowl, right? Think of emotions. How would someone emotionally react to what you're posting? And if it's a big one, post it and play with it. And trial and error this thing, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yep, but you don't have to be a licensed agent to start talking about real estate. You definitely don't have to wait to start showing off your personality, what you're learning, and so forth. As far as should I be prospecting? There is a way to reach out. I would say start with your database. There's a really good episode. Speaking of Hank, who was with us earlier watching, go to the Work to Live podcast, worktolivepodcast.com. Check that out. The first episode with Wayne Salmons, who we had on the show recently. Wayne is the one that uttered the phrase I will never forget: "Stop booty calling your database." So that's a great point, right? So most people only call their database when they want something, right?
Yeah.
So you're about to go into real estate. You know you're going to get your license. What better time when they cannot work with you? You have nothing to ask of them. What better time to call them and start prepping them for when you literally there's nothing they can do for you.
Yeah.
All you want to do is just reconnect. You just want to say hi. You just want to catch up. That way, when you get into the business and you say, hey, now I'm ready to roll. I am officially licensed. You've just talked to them in the last month or two, and you don't have that barrier of, ooh, I can't reach out to them. I haven't talked to them in like 2 years or 5 years or whatever. Like you just talked to them a couple months ago. Like if you can get over that, that's what holds a lot of people back from just maintaining contact with their database, which is a shame because those are the people that know you and like you. If you can be working your way into feeling like you're an expert or at least a lifelong student in real estate, and you get confident that you are acquiring knowledge, that, hey, I'm going to be good at this. And then you also reach out to your database and you just catch up with them before you get your license. When you hit the ground running, you'll have a pool of people who already know, like, and trust you and have heard from you recently. And you'll have that sense that, okay, now I really do know what I'm talking about and I can genuinely help somebody in real estate. It's not just, oh, I just got my license. I know how to fill out some paperwork and now what the hell do I do?
Yeah, that's really, really true. I love that idea. I mean, it's the same thing because when you reach out to someone with no ulterior motive except for just hey, Matt, haven't talked to you in a while, man. Want to grab a beer? Actually, in Matt's case, Matt, want to grab a cookie?
Or coffee. How's that? Coffee.
We'll do coffee. Yeah. But I mean, it's just saying, hey, what's going on? That's it, guys. Just be a human being and have a conversation with the other person. They're gonna ask what's new with you. Then say, you know what? Actually, I'm getting into real estate, taking my training right now. Do you know a good brokerage? Who do you know that's in real estate that I could talk to? Just want to make a good living for myself, my family, my spouse, whatever it's going to be. Because then you're getting them on your team by asking their opinion. Like, hey, who do you know that I can ask, or who should I go interview with that you liked? Who did you use last? What did you like? What did you dislike about them? Ooh, that's a good idea, Matt. Start using them.
Wait, can we have a call where we share what we dislike about each other?
No. Well, this is what I don't like about you.
That's right. And another thing.
And I'm taking a few notes.
That's right.
So, but what you can use them as a beta test, guys. Go in and say, Matt, when you and Julie and your three obese little wood denting babies bought your last enormous house with oversized hallways and concrete and steel reinforced flooring, because those kids go through wood.
There's got to be a lot of rebar in that place.
That, dude, it's fucking dangerous, man. Mm-hmm. That's why it's a single story. But
yeah, slab, definitely.
Slab. No subfloor. No. We know what happened with your first house.
Come on now. Yeah.
Just holes everywhere.
Right through the floor.
And the second nose punch of the day. But you ask them, hey, Matt, what did you like? What did you dislike about your last real estate transaction? I'm trying to become the best I can.
Understand? That's good. That's a really great question. I love it.
Because now they're on team Greg. The
assumption is you won't do that.
Yeah. Well, the assumption.
It may be a strong assumption, but it is a good assumption. All right. So one last thing I want to talk to you about.
What are assumptions? They are the mother of all fuck ups. Don't assume.
Sure. Okay. All right, thank you for that. I thought you were gonna go with the ass out of you and me, but okay. You still managed to squeeze a nice fresh curse word in there, but just a different one that I was expecting.
Isn't that nice?
Anyway, Brad says, why does Matt keep feeding those babies? I don't know. It's a problem. We load up on insulin and lots of 2% milk with heavy whipping cream. I don't know what we're feeding them.
Their paramedics are on speed dial and they bring the reinforced truck.
That's right. Just a flatbed. It's really just a flatbed with a siren on it. Anyway, here's what I want to cover. We've got a couple minutes left, and we don't do a good enough job of covering this on the podcast, which is freedom, right? So, and by the way, guys, we've got our live training course. We always forget to mention this because we're horrible marketers sometimes. Go to Rockstar. We get caught up in talking and helping. And anyway, go to rockstarprospecting.com. We've got our next live training course coming up in March. The dates are on the site, rockstarprospecting.com, where you'll learn how to do exactly what Greg does that gets him the leads that we were talking about earlier. Anyway, we'll talk about that more in a second. But I want to get to freedom, right? So we talked about how we kind of like self-impose this structure on ourselves, but I don't know about you, Greg, but like I've been able to structure my week so that the days where I want to be on the phone, I can be on the phone. The days that I don't have to be. Thursdays, I have mostly unblocked for projects and writing. Like I've been able to like literally set my own schedule that works with my own rhythm of how I want my week to play out. And it's because I'm in this kind of wild, wild west of real estate and consulting and marketing and yada, yada. So that's part of what freedom means. So freedom means a couple of things to me. It means the ability to control who I come in contact with every day, right? I have that control. I have the freedom to work not when I feel like it, but when I choose to. And my goals are big enough that I choose to work, 30, 40, 50 hours a week, not because I have to, not because someone's looking over my shoulder and telling me I have to, but because I set the goals. And then I determine the work that's needed to get to those goals. That's a completely different feeling than most people have when you work for somebody else.
It totally is, because you're making someone else's fortune when you're working for someone else. Yes, is it easier? Yes, is it a steady income? Of course it is. That's the attractive part to it. But if you've got the huevos to go out and do it on your own, you build your life of freedom. You can set your schedule. We've talked about this 100 times. We'll talk about it again. You know what? Here, everyone puts a business plan into order, and then their personal life is fucked. Put a life plan together, guys. Personal, income, clients, what do you want to wear? Where do you want to live? When do you want to work? All these things. And then put your business plan on top of that. Now that will create a very strong plan to move forward, because your spouse, your kids, everyone's on board because you built yourself first. The business will come unless you're going to work like an hour a week, and then unless you're really, really, really wealthy from doing something, that can work too. But if you got to make the money, guys, you have to build in the time, but do it the way you want to do it. Matt works from home. That's where he wants to work from. I would go batshit crazy working from home. I've got to come into something to go hang out with other humans and have an office to go feel like I'm having a business day. But then I can go out into the big wide world out there, and I can interact with folks. That's why I choose to do my day. And I also choose to do a lot of videos, you guys all know. For that, both Matt and I do, because that's what we want to do in our business. So what do you guys want to do in yours? How do you want to look? Do you want to drive? Do you want to have a commute? Would you rather, why don't you come into the office at 10 or 11? Leave at 6, avoid the commute. Maybe do some reading at home, spending some time with the kids before they go to school. I mean, think about this. The 9 to 5 was back in the industrial era when we were all working in factories and we had to go home before it got dark. That's why it was sun up, sundown working time. Guys, we have these things called flashlights on that we can carry, and headlights on cars. And these things are lights around us. You can work whenever, wherever. So just figure out what you want to wear and where you want to work and who you want to work with.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what I love about this wild, wild west that we live in. So Brian has a question about Rockstar Prospecting. He says, are you guys planning to keep it at a similar price for a while? I want to sign up, but in the future when I'm a little closer to starting. Totally understandable, Brian. Honestly, we're going to run Rockstar Prospecting as it is, in the sense of it being very focused on circle prospecting. We're going to run it in March, potentially in April, but we're working on another sort of training system behind the scenes. We're kind of doing just some testing and putting together the content and stuff like that for a program all about how to get now business. So all the things that you can do that can literally lead to immediate results and pick up a client that day.
Oh, man. One of the ideas that we worked on there, it worked. I got a call. Okay. They got like multiple referrals from me. I'm like, oh, nice. It worked.
Good. Yeah, those are the kinds of things that we're working on for this Getting Now business training course. So the Rockstar Prospecting guys, we'll always do live training courses, but the topics are going to vary. Now the cost is not going to wildly go up. The cost is $297 for a 4-week, 1 hour a week training. But yeah, the topics are going to change up. We're going to do, what makes us happy and what makes you money. So we're going to do things, we're going to change things up over time. Sometimes we'll be focused on buyers. Sometimes we'll be focused on sellers. Sometimes it will be, high tech, social media, live video, stuff like that. So yeah, go to Rockstar Prospecting, guys. It's $297. It's a 4-week course. The cool thing about it, and it's really a training course, and there's a difference between like coaching, consulting, training, all that stuff. Training is where you're teaching a skill set and then working with that person to help them develop the skill. So like when we're on these calls, like Greg, you're actually role playing with people. Mm-hmm. You're role playing them, demonstrating it first. Mm-hmm. Then we're role playing with them, giving them the script and having them role play with you. Mm-hmm. And giving it back to them, being the buyer or the seller. And so it's really building up that skill set, that muscle memory of how to deliver the script, how to talk to people about real estate, how to be confident, how to come across the good tonality, good phrasing, why to throw in like stutters and stammers and just some of the unique stuff that you do that makes it work. Whereas where somebody else might pick up that same script and fall flat on their face. Like somebody said something about a guy that, I think it was Joel Rico actually mentioned this. Somebody came to him. He was known as the expired master in his town because he had made like 5,000 prospecting calls to expired listings, right? Mm-hmm. So he gets on the phone because he wanted Joel to coach him. And Joel asked him, well, how many expired listings have you taken? Oh, none. He's like, wait a minute. You're like the expired master. He's like, well, yeah, I make 2 to 3 hours of calls to expired listings a day. I've done that for a year. He's like, well, how have you not taken any listings? Send me a recording of what you're doing. Oh. The guy's script was so bad. All he was doing was calling up and say, hey, you still selling that? Are you thinking about selling that house? No? All right, moving on. And he'd hang up and move on to the next call. So those are some of the things, the pitfalls that we can help you avoid by role-playing and interacting with you and correcting some of those things before you spend a year calling people and don't get any listings.
No? All right, bye. Click.
Yeah.
It's like, good Lord, dude, you got to dig deeper on that one. Holy Christ.
Oh, my God.
But that's the mentality of a lot of folks. They hear that word no and they freak out and they go on to hopefully a yes somewhere, close by. You know what? Again, I'm going to mention it. Go buy the book, Go for No. Guys, remember, the book is called Go for No. It's a short little small book. That's another thing that Matt agrees with me on. He actually liked the book that I read.
Great book. Yep.
And it will change your mindset about hearing the word no. You'll learn how to gamify your prospecting. Every time you go, and Matt, did I tell you this? I got a legitimate go fuck yourself on my circle prospecting. The guy hung up. I started laughing so hard I couldn't contain it in me, and I'm like, oh my God, that guy was pissed. But I didn't let it bother me, guys, because it's not personal. Dude, maybe he just got served divorce papers, Yeah. Maybe his daughter came back with purple hair and piercings.
Well, like we try to keep that stuff in mind, but it's way more fun just to go for no and then brag about the biggest no that you got.
Oh, dude, you got to give yourself a trophy or an award. Like if this energy shot thing here was an award, I would have been receiving it that day because I got the worst F off. Go work with a couple of your buddies in the office and compare war stories on either a daily or weekly basis, and then maybe go say whoever got the worst, rejection gets lunch bought for them by the other people, because if you get the worst rejection, dude, then that means you hustled. That means you got business coming down.
Right.
Matt, we're over our time limit. Damn it.
We are. I know. So people should follow you. Where should they follow you?
They should follow me, not in a personal sense. Don't actually be following me. I'm 6'5". But go follow me on Facebook.
Well, you'd be an easy guy to find in Mexico. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. What do you? Never mind. Anyways, guys, follow me on Facebook. I am out of Facebook friends. I almost have 1,000 friend requests waiting. So please listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Follow. I know they both start with F's, but follow me. Don't friend me. Follow me.
You will go into friend request purgatory is what I've started calling it.
And it is rough.
It is a horrible no man's land where you don't have anything. You don't get Greg's content. You don't get his friendship. You mean nothing. No
love.
Facebook doesn't allow it.
No, it's I feel bad. That's why I say friend. That's why I say friend me. No, That's why I say follow.
Do not friend.
Matt, where are they going to find you? I'm pursuing
They're
results.
They're going to find me, yes. Pursuing Results on Facebook and Instagram. So, all right, guys, make sure to subscribe to the show. If you really enjoy it, obviously share it with your friends. We appreciate that you guys already do that. We thank you so much for doing that. We love you for doing that. There are people even outside the business in real estate, in other industries that listen to the show for God knows what reason, because they find us entertaining or something, or we're delivering good interviews with people that are much smarter than we are. So that's always a good thing. But yeah, guys, share it. But if you really, really enjoy it, one favor that you can do for us that absolutely is free and maybe costs a little bit of time, 1 to 2 minutes, is going to iTunes and putting a review and just let us know not only what you think, but if there's something we can improve, if there's a certain guest you want, whatever the case is, just help us out. Go to iTunes, leave us a review, rate the show. And make sure to subscribe while you're there so you get the episodes, kind of downloaded to your phone automatically. So with that said, Greg, we are way over.
We are on by 4 minutes. Guys, for Matt and I to spread the word more, if you know anybody who's an admin on a real estate or mortgage or investment, group in Facebook that you think this information would be valuable for, have them reach out to us. If we get admin status, we can broadcast this show directly into the group, bringing value to the group. So if you know an admin of any of those types of groups, reach out to me, reach out to Matt, and we'll get them, sorted, and we'll get the broadcast into those groups. On those words, Matt, let's get out of here, man.
All right, let's do it. Everybody have a great weekend. We've got a killer episode coming up on Monday. It is Gene Volpe with Local Marketing Strategies Part 2. That's right.
St. Judy. All right, guys.
Like Hot Shots. Oh, Hot Shots. What a great movie. All right, guys. With that said, have a great weekend. We love you, and we'll see you on Monday.
We love you mucho. Peace out, ninjas.